Good evening. I'd like to call the November 15th, 2023 Town Board meeting to order. Ms. Marco, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Christou?
Present.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Present.
Mr. Dotson?
Present.
Mr. Mastriani?
Present.
And Mrs. Collins?
Present.
5 present.
Thank you, Ms. Marco. A quorum is present. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Marco, will you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At the November 8th, 2023 meeting, we opened the public hearing for the 2024 preliminary budget, and we did make a motion to keep it open. So at this time, we will have any more public comment on the 2024 preliminary budget. Ms. Marco, is there anybody who? Okay. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak about the 2024 budget, preliminary budget, that didn't sign up? All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Dotson, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Mastriani. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Dotson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes to close.
Motion passed, motion passed, the public hearing is closed. Okay. We'll now move on to privilege of the floor. Is there any, remember that you have 4 minutes to speak. I'll raise my hand around around 3.5 minutes, and you can wind up your comments. Ms. Marco, is that? So nobody signed up to speak. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak under privilege of the floor but didn't sign up? Okay. And I'm closing privilege of the floor. We'll go on to our resolutions. Our first resolution is Resolution 345 of the year 2023. The clerk will read.
To accept Town Board meeting minutes of November 8th, 2023.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Christou. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Mastriani. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Dotson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 346 of the year 2023. The clerk will read.
To approve budget transfers to the 2023 budget.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Dotson. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Dotson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 347 of the year 2023. The clerk will read.
To authorize a release of retainage to B&D Industries Incorporated.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Dotson. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Mastriani. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Dotson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 348 of the year 2023. The clerk will read.
To adopt the 2024 preliminary budget as the annual budget for the town of Rotterdam for the fiscal year beginning January 1st of 2024.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Was that you, Joe?
Yep.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Dotson. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
No.
Mr. Dotson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 no.
Resolution passes. And our last resolution is Resolution 349 of the year 2023. The clerk will read.
To amend Resolution 296.21 relating to the use of ARPA funds.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Dotson. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Mastriani. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
I believe I abstained on the underlying resolution, and therefore I must abstain on this one as well.
Mr. Dotson?
Yes.
Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
So 4 yes and 1 abstain.
Resolution passes. And that concludes our resolutions for this evening. We'll now move on to liaison reports. Do any of the members have anything they wish to say under that? Okay.
I have something I was going to pass on. I just want to follow up. This would be facilities. We did have a pre-construction meeting today for the renovations to Town Hall. And again, just to bring the public up to date, in months of January, February, March, April, May, maybe even July, the contractor thinks he's going to be in here doing the majority of their work. So there will indeed be winter work associated with the Town Hall renovations. And, you know, I just ask again, we've talked to the contractor again about maintaining access in and out of the building, about be patient relative to the renovations that are going to occur over the next, we'll say, 6 months. Thank you.
Madam Supervisor, under miscellaneous, we had a very, very nice Veterans Day ceremony this past Wednesday on Veterans Day, and I just wanted to make sure that it marks their calendars for December 7th at 1 o'clock here inside of Town Hall for the 30th annual Pearl Harbor Day service.
Do any of the other council members have anything they wish to bring forward? I'd like to remind everybody that we will be having the holiday lighting of the tree again on December 3rd. I'm sure it's on our website and on Facebook, so you can see what time it is. I believe it's 3 to 7. That will be the next event coming up after or before Pearl Harbor. Anything else?
We also have the parade on Saturday. It's a Schenectady Parade. Rotterdam will have a float in it. Looks phenomenal.
Anyone else? And that concludes our business for tonight. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Motion by-
second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Dotson, seconded by Mr. Christou. All in favor?
Aye.